because he assumed his greatness before the world acknowledged it. He carried himself as if he was destined to rule the world, and that belief influenced his decisions, his army's morale, and ultimately, his success. Napoleon Bonaparte, the emperor's mindset. Napoleon was born into a relatively minor noble family, yet he assumed himself to be a leader of men long before he ever commanded an army. When asked how he inspired his troops, he said, "Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract success effortlessly while others struggle no matter how hard they try? Why do some individuals, despite facing setbacks, still manage to come out on top? The answer lies in one simple but powerful principle: the law of assumption. This is not just some mystical idea. It's a principle used by some of the most successful and influential people throughout history. From ancient philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Confucius to modern self-made millionaires, those who understand and apply this law have unlocked a hidden power that shapes reality itself. And here's the best part: you can do it too. In this video, we'll explore the origins of the law of assumption and how it works, historical figures who unknowingly applied it to transform their lives, the science and psychology behind how our assumptions shape reality, practical step-by-step exercises to help you master this law and manifest the life you want. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand this principle, but you'll also know how to use it to create real, lasting change in your life. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. The Law of Assumption. What it really means. The Law of Assumption states that whatever you assume to be true, whether consciously or unconsciously, will eventually manifest in your reality. It was popularized by Neville Goddard, a 20th century mystic and teacher who believed that your inner state shapes your outer world. In simple terms, if you assume you are successful, opportunities will come your way. If you assume you are unlucky, life will constantly prove you right. If you assume you are confident, people will treat you as such. This is not just wishful thinking, it's about programming your mind to expect success, and in doing so, aligning your actions, emotions, and decisions to make it a reality. Ancient wisdom on assumption and reality. This idea isn't new. Throughout history, the world's greatest thinkers have hinted at this truth. 1. Marcus Aurelius. You become what you think. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote, "A man's life is what his thoughts make of it." He understood that reality is shaped not by external events, but by how we perceive and assume those events. The way we interpret reality creates our experience of it. 2. Confucius, the power of self-perception. Confucius believed that how you see yourself determines your destiny. He taught that if a man assumes himself to be wise, disciplined, and honorable, he will act accordingly, and others will treat him that way. Assumption dictates action, and action dictates reality. Chapter 2. The science behind the law of assumption. Some people might dismiss the law of assumption as mere wishful thinking, but modern psychology and neuroscience confirm that our assumptions shape our reality in profound ways. The reticular activating system, your brain's reality filter. At the core of this principle is a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, RAS. This small network of neurons acts as a filter between your conscious and subconscious mind. Think of it like this. Have you ever bought a new car and suddenly you start seeing that exact model everywhere? That's not because more people suddenly bought the same car. It's because your brain has been programmed to notice it. Your assumptions work the same way. If you assume success, your brain will automatically look for opportunities and evidence that align with that belief. If you assume failure, you will subconsciously look for proof that life is against you. The self-fulfilling prophecy, psychology's proof. Psychologists have long studied the self-fulfilling prophecy, a phenomenon where your beliefs shape your actions, and your actions create your reality. A famous experiment by Robert Rosenthal and Lenore Jacobson in the 1960s proved this concept. They told teachers that certain students in their class were gifted and expected to perform well. In reality, these students were chosen at random. Yet by the end of the year, the so-called gifted students showed significant improvements. Why? because the teachers assumed they were gifted and treated them accordingly. That belief changed their behavior, which in turn changed the students' outcomes. This is why the law of assumption is so powerful. The world treats you based on the assumptions you hold about yourself. Chapter 3. Historical figures who mastered the law of assumption. Throughout history, some of the most influential people have unknowingly used the law of assumption to shape their destiny. Alexander the Great, assuming invincibility. Alexander the Great was not the largest, strongest, or wealthiest ruler, yet he conquered vast empires and was revered as nearly divine by his people. Why? He inspired his troops, he said, "I see only the objective. The obstacles must give way." His absolute belief in his own destiny influenced every battle, every strategy, and every alliance he formed. He assumed victory, and so he acted accordingly. Thomas Edison, assuming success, despite failure. Edison failed over 1,000 times before successfully inventing the light bulb. When asked how he handled so many failures, he replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison assumed he was already a great inventor. He didn't let temporary setbacks define him. He simply saw them as part of the journey to what he already knew was inevitable: his success. Chapter 4. Practical steps to use the law of assumption in your life. It's one thing to understand this principle. It's another to apply it. Here are 5 practical steps to help you harness the power of assumption and reshape your reality. Step 1. Identify and replace negative assumptions. Most people unconsciously assume things that work against them. For example, "I'm not good enough. I never get lucky. Success is for other people, not me." These thoughts are shaping your reality. The first step is to identify them and replace them with empowering assumptions. Instead of "I'm not good enough," assume, "I am capable, and I always find a way to succeed." Your mind will begin to find ways to prove this new assumption true. Step 2. Act as if your assumption is already true. Your actions must align with your assumptions. If you assume yourself to be successful, ask yourself, how would I walk if I were already successful? How would I speak? What decisions would I make? Then start behaving that way now. Muhammad Ali famously declared, "I am the greatest," long before he was recognized as the best boxer in the world. He assumed his greatness first, and then he made it a reality. Step 3. Visualize your assumption daily. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools to reinforce the law of assumption. Close your eyes and picture your desired reality as if it has already happened. Feel the emotions of success, hear the sounds, and immerse yourself in that future. The brain does not distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. The more you visualize success, the more your subconscious mind will work to make it real. Step 4. Speak and think in the present tense. Avoid saying, "I will be successful." That places success in the future, always out of reach. Instead say, "I am successful. I am confident. I am deserving." Your subconscious mind follows your words. Speak in the present tense as if your success is already real. Step 5. Persist even when reality hasn't caught up yet. The biggest mistake people make is giving up too soon. Just because your assumption doesn't instantly change your circumstances doesn't mean it's not working. Reality takes time to shift. The key is persistence. If you assume wealth but are still struggling financially, don't revert to old beliefs. If you assume confidence but still feel nervous, don't give up. Hold on to your assumption. The world will catch up. Chapter 5. Common mistakes that block the law of assumption. Many people fail to manifest their desires because they make these 3 critical mistakes. Mistake 1. Allowing external reality to shake your assumption. If you assume success but experience failure, do you abandon your assumption? Most people do, but the key is to remain firm in your belief despite temporary setbacks. Reality will always test you before it bends to your assumption. Mistake 2. Focusing on the how instead of the what. You don't need to figure out every detail of how your assumption will manifest. That's the job of the subconscious mind and external circumstances. Your job is to assume the outcome and trust that the path will reveal itself. Mistake 3. Doubting your own power. Doubt is the enemy of manifestation. The moment you question whether the law of assumption works, you weaken its effect. Faith is crucial. The most successful people don't hesitate. They assume and move forward with absolute certainty. Conclusion: you are the architect of your reality. The law of assumption is one of the most powerful forces shaping your life, whether you realize it or not. Every great leader, visionary, and innovator used it. Science proves that your assumptions shape your actions and outcomes. You now have the tools to apply it consciously and reshape your reality. From this moment forward, assume success, assume confidence, assume greatness, and watch as the world rearranges itself to reflect your new belief. Because once you control your assumptions, you control your life.